Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Monday evening, February 24, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below, let me know what there's been like in your ear recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go out to the next 168 hours, that's the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place according to this latest Euro model run. As we head into Tuesday morning, what do we see? We see a lot of moisture across the Western Caribbean, into Central America, the Cayman Islands, Cuba, and the Bahamas associated with that low pressure system. If you look back at the infrared rainbow satellite images, we can already see the clouds, showers, and thunderstorms associated with that weather system now affecting portions of Florida and the Bahamas, not to mention sections of Western Cuba as we speak. We can also see some other clouds associated with this system, but not that deep convection like what we see east of there, though, across the Yucatan Peninsula. So looking back at the infrared, we can see that it's definitely pushing eastward, and we can see that throughout the day on Tuesday we're starting to pick up on a lot of moisture coming into portions of Jamaica. By the end of the day, we should have had some amount of isolated afternoon rainfall across section of the island. Then as we head into Wednesday morning, not seeing much for Wednesday morning, but definitely some afternoon rainfall across sections of central and especially western parishes. Heading into Thursday morning, we see some moisture dancing around the island but not necessarily on land. Then Thursday afternoon, we can see that rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes especially. Heading into Friday morning, we also see that rainfall dancing around the island, not necessarily on land, but by the end of the day on Friday, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Very interesting. Heading into Saturday morning, not much change. Rainfall dancing around the island, we see the greens. Some of this could meander onshore. Then by the end of the day on Saturday, we see that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Lots of isolated afternoon rainfall in store for this week for sure. Sunday morning, rain to the east, rain to the west right here. And then by Sunday afternoon, rainfall across the island, of course. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Monday, February 3. And we do see some dots of green, some hit or miss isolated showers in and around the Greater Antilles. Nothing on top of Jamaica, maybe the far eastern end, but that's basically it. If we match what we just saw on the latest Euro to the latest GFS, let us see if we have consensus. First of all, yes, we do have the consensus with that tropical low pressure system. Well, not necessarily tropical, but that low pressure system for sure across section of the Bahamas into Cuba, the Western Caribbean. We also see that moisture coming into portions of especially southern parishes on Tuesday morning. Then by the end of the day on Tuesday, look at all of the abundance of moisture as represented by the greens across sections of most parishes. Wednesday morning, not seeing much happening, but Wednesday afternoon we start to see that green that represents some amount of isolated afternoon rainfall across sections of eastern, central, western parishes. Thursday morning we see that rainfall dancing around us. Then Thursday afternoon we see that rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. Friday morning, seeing that rainfall dancing around us again. Then by the end of the day across sections of central and western parishes. Saturday morning, what do we see? Some rainfall across the eastern end of the island. And by the end of the day, we see that rainfall spilling into sections of central Jamaica. Very interesting. Sunday morning, maybe some isolated rainfall in the morning across northern Jamaica. Then in the afternoon across eastern and central and western parishes for sure. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is also valid for Monday, March 3. And we can see the moisture across sections of some eastern, northern, and western parishes right there. Not seeing that much on the Euro though. We'll see exactly what unfolds. Either way, in terms of the accumulated precipitation forecast maps from both the Euro and the GFS, you can clearly see that there's going to be an abundance of moisture from now all the way up until Monday, March 3. As we can see by all of the reds into the burgundies, into the purples, into the pinks, that represents 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. And we clearly see that the Euro and the GFS models are adamant about that, especially across Florida, the Bahamas, sections of Cuba, Hispaniola, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, Puerto Rico, even the Eastern Caribbean getting their fair share of rainfall. We're talking about Guadeloupe, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Martinique, sections of Barbados. You can see a lot of rainfall expected for sections of Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Western Venezuela right there, Southern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, and even Trinidad and Tobago getting in on some of the rainfall for sure. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. And we know that the chances are higher for it to take place since they're in agreement like this. And even the total accumulated precipitation for Jamaica showing a lot of rainfall. Well, not necessarily a lot, but all the way up into the greens represents anywhere from 15 to 25, maybe even to 30 millimeters of rainfall. And we can clearly see that on both the Euro and the GFS models for the next 7 days. And whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs on our other social media platforms. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, you can see a frontal system right here extending from northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to portion of the Bahamas. We can see a trough right here to the east of the northeastern Caribbean, and we can see a ridge of high pressure right here to the north that we know is responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And we can see the other frontal system that's bringing a lot of clouds and bad weather to portion of Florida as we speak. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out all of these entities. First of all, the clouds associated with that frontal system and the airflow pressure across portions of Florida as we speak. So too the clouds associated with that other frontal system extending all the way down to portion of the Bahamas. And we can make out the trough right here to the east of the northeastern Caribbean right there. Not to mention the low to mid-level flow of the clouds from east-west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Monday, February 24, 2025. It was stated that rainfall was in the forecast for parts of some southern and eastern parishes on Monday morning, also affecting sections of some northern and western parishes during Monday afternoon. And when the southern parishes, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. Northern parishes, we're talking about those parishes on top like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? Although there was no post made in the morning, we definitely saw some clouds bring some isolated showers to section of some eastern parishes. Definitely got that across section of Portland, if not some overcast skies into section of St. Thomas as well. Then the visible satellite images were posted here on our Twitter page over the Jamaica, and I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts are also made here on our Instagram page over the Jamaica, on our TikTok page over the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page over the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the visible satellite images that were posted around 4:35 p.m. and they highlighted what was predicted. Clouds bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, to sections of some northern and the western parishes. So definitely sections of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland got in on the overcast skies, if not the isolated shower activity for sure. And we can see it all even better on the visible satellite images right here, showing the HD version of the clouds, bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers, to sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, right there, just as predicted. And the infrared close-up satellite images confirm that we did not get in on any cumulonimbus clouds, as represented by the blues into the greens, yellows, oranges, reds, blacks, whites, purples at all. All we're seeing is the low end of the scale in terms of what clouds bring. Basically the low to mid-level clouds right here across the northwestern end. And we could also see some clouds right here to the south of the island pushing from east to west. Taking a look at the crossroads cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, we can see that it was definitely a sunny day across the corporate area. We can make out some cloudy skies up in the hills of St. Andrew, but that's basically it. Nothing significant in terms of bad weather at that time, 2:02 p.m. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, and they are planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at least one comment here that we got on our YouTube page, we have Ryan Prawl 2202 stating no rain in Manchester, and that's understandable because Manchester right here was definitely void of much clouds at all during the afternoon. Taking a look at the very latest still image from the Weather Nerd website, let us see what's happening right now. Alright, so we can make out that there's not much of anything happening right now. We can still see the milky whitish color as representing the clouds, the low to mid-level clouds. Maybe bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated shores, to the waters to the northwest of us, waters to the south of St. Catherine, the waters to the southeast of St. Thomas. Wish we had the Doppler radar images to confirm if there's actually any rain underneath all of those clouds, but the Cuban Doppler radar still basically glitched out the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar images, showing some isolated shores across the northern portion of eastern Cuba. Not seeing much of anything across the western peninsula of Haiti or northeastern Jamaica. But if we take a look at the Cayman radar, we can make out the moderate to heavy rainfall associated with the system pushing from west to east as we speak. So Portland, well, not Portland, but Cuba is definitely going to be drenched with some amount of bad weather tonight. You can also see some isolated shores to the south of the Cayman Islands as well. We also see some isolated shores to the north of Hanover too, maybe matching what we saw on the infrared right there. Alright, let us see what's happening on See Jamaica's YouTube channel right now. What's happening right now? The flat bridge camera showing people in their vehicles going about their business. Nothing in the way of bad weather, definitely dry conditions, rear cobra chilling as usual. Definitely live right here, 7:15 p.m. as we can see here on the time. Definitely matching up with what we're seeing on the live stream, and that should be the order of the night for sure. Definitely don't see anything in the way of bad weather at all taking place. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Tuesday, temperature should dip down to about 22 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is showing 18Z on Tuesday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Tuesday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in the grays to slightly above normal temperatures in the slight yellows right here. That represents at least 1 degree Celsius above normal. I know the normal temperature for the month of February across Jamaica is around 86.4 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.1 degrees Celsius. So it should be receiving anywhere from 30.1 to 31.1 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Tuesday. And unfortunately, we have some maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online's Twitter page to highlight. I wanted that we have to highlight these because you know that when we have power outages in our area, we are definitely burning up in the heat because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have a friend or relative who live or work in these areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Tuesday, February 25, 2025. Referring to sold out as well as Ocean Spring Apartments in St. James from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Riverside Drive in St. Andrew from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Stanmore Estates in St. Andrew from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Bamboo Ridge in St. Catherine from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Grange to Racecourse in Westmoreland from 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Darlingford to Grange in Portland from 7:45 a.m. to 6 p.m. And finally we have Qua Hill, Hectors River, Haining, Rolands Field, Compound, Audley Pen, Ken Joe's Highway, Montreal Ridge, Darlingford, Long Road in Portland from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Either way, we have some tips right here to beat the heat if tomorrow is going to be a bit too hot for you. As usual, it states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty. Drink lots of water and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, not much change. The driest air right here off the coast of Africa as represented by the dark reds into the white. And the most moist areas in the Caribbean, we see the yellows that represents the lowest on the scale in terms of dry air. So maybe some mixture of some amount of isolated showers within there. We can also see the blues that represent the moistest of the air across the eastern Pacific, the intertropical convergence zone, portions of the eastern Gulf into Florida, Cuba, and the Bahamas, where the system is located as we speak. And in terms of the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Monday, we can clearly see that there is not much of anything across the entire Western Hemisphere, but we can make out some of the slight browns that represent the low end of the scale in terms of Saharan dust across portion of the Windward Islands into portion of the main development region. And we're indeed grateful that we're not seeing that dark shade of brown that we know represents that vigorous plume that can cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger so much of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're glad that this is the forecast for 2 p.m. Hold on, it's showing 2 p.m. on Monday. Today is Monday. Let me see if I can find the right one. Let's find the right one. This one glitched out. But we noticed there isn't even much change because there we go. We're going all the way out to Tuesday. And the only thing that has changed is the location of the dust. So it's pushing a bit more westward, but not enough to make it into portion of the Leeward Islands. We can see some slight hint of it across sections of the southeastern Caribbean right there, but it is still on the low end of the scale in terms of the browns. But we're not seeing that dark shade that can trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses at all. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we're seeing the light shades of blues to dark shades of blues extending from the Gulf into the Caribbean. That represents anywhere from 0.5 meter wave height all the way up to 1.5 meter wave heights. While to the east of the Bahamas, we're seeing the purples into the pinks. That represents 2 to 3 meter wave heights, also affecting the waters of the eastern Caribbean. And that's because of the winds that are expected. You can clearly see the bright greens into the yellows. That represents anywhere from 15 to 20 knots. We've been gusting to 25 to 30 knots right here off to the east of the Bahamas for sure. And look at the flow of the winds coming in from the east, curving northwards. So more of a southeasterly flow coming into portion of Puerto Rico, Hispaniola. We also see a southeasterly flow coming into Jamaica tomorrow. More of a southwesterly flow across sections of central to eastern Cuba. More of a northerly to northwesterly flow from the Gulf into the Caribbean. And we see that strong channel of southerly flow right there to the east of the Bahamas, which explains why it's so, or it's expected to be so windy over there as the high pressure gradients meet up with that frontal systems gradient. And we can clearly see the flow of the winds for tomorrow, definitely a southeasterly flow. And look at where the least amount of winds are expected, across the northern edge of the island. That's where we could have all of the air piling up, bring us some amount of daytime heating, isolated showers for sure. And whatever comes off of the sea from the south or from the southeast could definitely come into portion of some southern parishes for sure. Very interesting pattern for tomorrow. And the upper level winds coming in more so from the west southwest, so it could definitely favor more of the rainfall across sections of some northern parishes. Either way, taking a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now. Both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that there should be some amount of blues dotting the southern coastline that represents some amount of isolated shores, and we clearly see that on both the Euro and the GFS models. So could we be getting in on some isolated morning rainfall at 5 a.m? Very interesting. We'll see exactly what unfolds. And skipping ahead to 3 p.m. now, look at this. Not only are we still seeing the blues represent isolated shores across the waters to the south, but we're also seeing some amount of isolated shore activity across sections of some southern parishes. Northern parishes getting in on the action too, according to the Euro. The GFS definitely showing a lot of that rainfall out to sea to the south of us, as well as across sections of some northern parishes during the afternoon. Very interesting forecast in general. Either way, in terms of the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps from the Euro and the GFS, we can clearly see that it's going to be raining somewhere across Jamaica within the next 24 hours. The Euro going all the way up into the slight yellows that represents up to 0.3 of an inch of rainfall out west. The GFS not showing that much on land, but most of it to the south, to the west, and to the northwest of us. Only all the way up to 0.22 of an inch of rainfall right there across the northwestern end. We'll see exactly what unfolds, and whatever occurs, we'll definitely take it, because we're in the month of February and we usually receive less rainfall this month. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 19 millimeters of rainfall for the month. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 2.9 inches of rainfall for the month. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, or if you'd like to see more graphics like this showing the actual annual rainfall for the year for these parishes or for your parish, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website to show you that information. And you can use this graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have this system starting to bring some strong thunder showers to portions of the Bahamas, Florida, Cuba as we speak. Some rainfall are being experienced across sections of the Yucatan, sections of northern Guatemala, gonna be Belize next, the Cayman Islands next. We can also see some isolated showers coming through the eastern Caribbean, anywhere from Guadeloupe southward as we speak. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, pretty sure that there's nothing to see over there near Puerto Rico. Well, some isolated shores affecting the U.S. Virgin Islands, some isolated shores across southeastern Puerto Rico, northwestern Puerto Rico, section of Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda getting on some isolated shores too. And if we load these images from earlier today, we can see where Dominica and southern Guadeloupe were definitely getting in on some amount of rainfall. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, not seeing much of anything across Barbados right now, maybe some hit or miss showers to the east of there pushing westward, but we can definitely see some moderate to slightly heavy rainfall passing to the north of Barbados, pushing towards Martinique. St. Lucia already getting lashed as we speak, so too St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, maybe section of Tobago getting on some isolated shores. And if we take a look at the weather wave Doppler radar images, we can make out that heavy rainfall currently lashing portions of Florida, Cuba and the Bahamas associated with that strong frontal system. So too section of the Yucatan, Belize, northern Guatemala, Honduras, and if we scroll down we can even see some isolated shores affecting section of Colombia and passing to the north of the ABC Islands. And regarding where most of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, you can clearly see the reds into the burgundies and the purples. That's going to be lashing Florida, the Bahamas, Cuba, section of Belize, Guatemala, Honduras, section of Colombia into eastern Panama, western Venezuela, some isolated shores in the greens and the yellows, especially for sections of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Grenada, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Barbados, St. Lucia, Martinique, Dominica, Guadeloupe, section of Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, as well as sections of Hispaniola. Definitely going to be getting on some mode of rainfall. Just some isolated shores at that within the next 24 hours. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.